Hello, this is John Morin. I always encourage anybody when you've been a victim of a crime to get a copy of the police report. You put a FOIA request, try to get as much information as you can, whether that's the actual 911 calls that you make, or body cams, dash cams, police reports, and maybe witness statements, anything that you can get a hold of that'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on. Here I put in a FOIA request through the city of Lansing, my address, all my personal information. You put it in through an email, and then you kind of sign it. I put this request in on the day after the attempted break-in. You'll notice that I requested 2 911 calls made from my address. Actually, there was a total of 3 911 calls. Here, when I made this request, I was hoping to get all of the information, but it appears that I got the 911 calls, but we also put in a FOIA request for the body cams and dash cams and 911 calls. Those, it appears, don't actually start until 5 minutes after the police arrive. In fact, they bypass the people in the alleyway, hit them with the light, make them aware that they're in that location, and once alerted, the bad guys start packing all their stuff and drive away. They get hit a second time with the light off of Foster, and right after that is when they come across the individual that's in that other body cam video that eventually runs away and throws a backpack with a Tech 9 in it over a fence. They recover the Tech 9 and the backpack, but the guy gets away. Personally, I think they went after the guy a block away on Foster, more or less to give him an excuse for not having gone after the people in the alleyway. Because if you listen to our 3 911 calls, we refer to the alley every time. I also got a copy of the police report. It doesn't give a lot of information other than RO, unknown society public, not in custody. The date is 12/19/2018, 3:04 a.m. They have them listed as resisting arrest and society public, whatever that means. There's no information about him, other than to say that there was a gun recovered, but that's on a different report. It does say that the case is still active. The reporting officer is Stacy Browe, BROWE, and the case number is 185-191-3549. When we put in the report for the body cam, we also asked for communication between officers that responded, also communications between 911 and officers that responded. In none of the body cams or dash cams will you hear any 911 dispatcher dispatching them to my address. That's because they chose not to give me that information. I think they intentionally allowed the people to get away. And That's why they chose not to give me the information. It had to do with 310 South Francis. Rather give me an information about some guy they chased a block away, and then come to my house after the fact and say, hey, we got the gun. Well, all you had to do was block the alleyways and you got the bad guys. But their excuse was that the 911 dispatcher never told them anything about going to the alley. And that's a concern, because you don't send me the dispatch from 911 to the officers, then how do we know what you told them? Who are we supposed to blame? The 911 dispatchers for not relaying the information, or the police officers on the scene that purposely allowed the bad guys to get away? That's important to kind of look at, maybe. That way you don't make mistakes. I think in this case here, I've tried to put it all together with all the information I have. Unfortunately, I don't have all of the information. The reason I don't have it all is because the months later, 2 detectives come over to recover video off of my camera system, and when they brought my hard drive back after supposedly recording that, they were only gone for a little over a half an hour, and supposedly drove out to the state police post from my address and back again, only to decide after the fact that, well, there's no good information on it that they could use. And then when I go back on my hard drive, I can't access that information anymore. Something had happened to the hard drive while the officers had it. That's a concern. Another thing you need to be aware of, don't ever give anything to the LPD or anybody else unless you have a copy of it, or maybe even a couple copies, with a copy given to somebody you know and trust. Other than that, you need to find out what they write in police reports, because sometimes it's not very it's enlightening, in that they tend to sometimes put their own narrative rather than what exactly happened. I wouldn't trust an LPD officer on the stand to tell me what happened at a crime scene for all the money in the world, because how could I trust them? Dunnings didn't even trust them. And that's what he told us when he was out picking up prostitutes in our neighborhood. Kind of a sad situation we lived in. But that's kind of what the whole city of Lansing is like. Here it is this year, they're bragging about they only had 16 murders. And last year they had over 20, well over 20. And they're going in the right direction. I'm sorry, any murders is going in the wrong direction. Because not only do you have 16 families grieving their lost ones, but you got 16 or more individuals that lived in Lansing and now have nothing but prison to look forward to the rest of their lives. So in that regard, nobody wins. Society loses 100%. It's important that you keep the police honest.